This is $200, and I might as well not even have it if I wanted to go to one of the top 10 most expensive games of the upcoming NFL season. If you want to get in the building for the Minnesota Vikings and Pittsburgh Steelers game in Week 4, the now Aaron Rodgers-led Pittsburgh Steelers, it's going to cost you $800 at least just to get in the building in Dublin, Ireland, if you want to go see this game. Of course, the Minnesota Vikings have been longtime rivals of Aaron Rodgers, so the fact that he is now in Pittsburgh makes all of those NFC North games all the more enticing. J.J. McCarthy, his first time overseas to play in a big-time NFL international game, as well as he's just their starting quarterback. How is he going to play this year? So $800 just to get in the building for this one. The second most expensive game next year, well, let's keep it international still. $504 to see Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders face off against the Tua Tagovailoa-led Miami Dolphins. Look, Jaden Daniels is an international star. He must be, at this point, with his incredible rookie season last year, he's somehow going to be looking to top that. We don't know yet what the Miami offense will look like. Is Tyreek Hill going to be there as a main focal point in that offense? We imagine if he is, obviously that makes this Week 11 matchup all the more exciting. Still, Washington boasts one of the best teams in the NFC with Jaden at the helm, so this makes for a very fun matchup if you can go to the game. Number 3, for $446, you can see the Week 1 kickoff game, the Cowboys at the Eagles, America's team taking on the reigning Super Bowl champs. Jalen Hurts and company are looking to defend their Super Bowl title, hosting their longtime rival in Dallas. Look, there has been hype every single year for Dallas as long as I have been alive, and every single time of those 24 years, they have disappointed. Nobody gives Dallas any faith that they're going to come up with a dub Week 1 on this Thursday night game. So will Dak Prescott, newly healthy, and his stars and Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb be able to create a type of performance that will be worthy enough for any of those Cowboy fans that want to pay a pretty penny to get in for this one? On the other side, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley are more than enough power to be able to lift the Philadelphia Eagles for this. It's just a matter of they can all execute it and shake off the rust for a Week 1 game at Lincoln Financial Field. Week 11, Cowboys at the Raiders. The Raiders are always going to be a hot price if you want to go to see a game in Las Vegas. $419 just to get in the building to see the Dallas Cowboys again at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are a newly exciting team. They got Ashton Genty at pick number 6 this year in the NFL draft. They were able to pick up probably the best offensive weapon from last year's draft in Brock Bowers at this point, and for the fantasy people, the number 1 fantasy tight end. On the other side, the Dallas Cowboys, again, what are they going to be on the defensive side of the ball? Are they going to stop Ashton Genty? The 5th most expensive game, let's keep it with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chicago Bears head to town. You can see quite the difference between the $419 that it costs in the Bears-Raiders game with this one. $295, the cheapest ticket that you could buy to see Chicago. Caleb Williams, the second-year quarterback with the new head coach Ben Johnson. How is that combo going to look? The Bears spent their first-round pick, 10th overall, on the Michigan tight end Colston Loveland, and then the second-rounder on who many thought could be a potential top 25 first-round selection in Luther Burden. The newly explosive Chicago Bears offense, along with some of the pieces in the interior of that offensive and other pieces on the defensive line. Chicago is a hot ticket, and going to see a Bears game next season is going to cost quite a lot. Number 6, Week 18, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. $275 to see this matchup. Look, they're going to have Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Once again, we know that they took the kid out of Iowa, Caleb Johnson. They have DK Metcalf now at wide receiver, arguably the best defensive player in the National Football League in TJ Watt. On the other side, the Baltimore Ravens are coming off a very disappointing loss late in that game. Mark Andrews isn't able to corral in the 2-point conversion, and Baltimore goes home after the divisional round. The year before, they're stopped short. They're not able to come up with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Very disappointing season once again there. So week 18, does this game have any meaning? Or we could end up seeing the prices for this one drop a lot if the division is already wrapped up or if the Steelers just aren't very good next year. Eagles at the Packers, a rematch of last year's wild card matchup. This one is at Lambeau Field, week 10. This one will cost you $272 to go to. Of course, the price is worth it going to Lambeau Field. Again, the Philadelphia Eagles have been so strong for the last 4 or 5 seasons. The Green Bay Packers have been right there. Multiple NFC Championship game appearances and losses in the last 6 years, dating back for the last 15 years. They've been relevant every single season except for 1 or 2. So Jordan Love and company hosting Philly. They're going to want this one if they want to say that we made some sort of improvement year over year. At number 8, the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. Week 14, $262. Dak Prescott facing off against Jared Goff. A lot of people, including myself, are saying that the Detroit Lions Super Bowl window is tightening, if not closing altogether. I think I'm more of the latter because of the likes of what their cap space is going to be moving forward and all of those great young stars that they're going to have to be paying very soon here. Jared Goff has been a prolific passer. We know how good that Lions offense has been. But again, they lose their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. They lose their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. They had the injury concerns last year. We'll see what Aiden Hutchinson is. Great news for Lions fans as he looks healthy and ready to go for this upcoming year. But Cowboys and Lions, one of the more classic matchups that we can get. Week 3, the Dallas Cowboys head to face the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, $253. We know Soldier Field is going to be sold out. Bears fans are going to be so excited to see their quarterback, Caleb Williams. At this point, they will have already played the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Likely, they're looking at a 1-1 record after those two to start the season. If that's the case, Soldier Field is going to be raucous. This is going to be a massive Week 3 matchup, and for the most part, it's likely that the Dallas Cowboys are looking at a 1-1 playing at Philly. Those fans going crazy. So week 9 at Soldier Field, because of the limited capacity, the premium seats, I mean, it goes up in Soldier Field. It's not like you've got 80,000 seats at a stadium to fill in where they can get a little bit more expensive. It's not like there's 80,000 people in the stands where the tickets could get a little bit cheaper. Like Soldier Field is small. You can pretty much have a good seat from anywhere in the stadium if you're there. Again, on that defensive side of the ball, Jalen Johnson, they've got the pieces. The Cowboys took a pick on Tyler Booker. Bears fans are going to be going crazy. You want a rematch of the Week 1 starting game 2 seasons ago? Well, it's the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 of the 4 best teams in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are looking to rebound after a very disappointing Super Bowl performance. And the Detroit Lions, after a humiliating loss at home, the number 1 seed in front of their fans at Ford Field after what was their best season in franchise history. They go 15-2, and the Kansas City Chiefs are hosting them. $248 if you want to see this Week 6 game. What are the Chiefs going to look like? I mean, those fantasy fans, Patrick Mahomes, his amount of productivity has dropped up, but with Rashee Rice back from injury, Xavier Worthy, maybe Travis Kelce getting a little bit more attention this year, getting the ball into his hands against the Detroit Lions with their playmakers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, about 4,000 yards receiving, 30 touchdowns the last 3 seasons. Jahmyr Gibbs, probably the most explosive player in the National Football League, to go with David Montgomery, Jameson Williams. This is going to be a scintillating matchup. Some honorable mentions on the schedule. I think the Vikings at the Lions, Week 9. About $245 if you want to get in the building for this game. Might be more than that if we see the start of the season a lot like last year. Remember, these 2 teams faced off on Sunday Night Football, the last game of the season. Both of them were 14-2 at Ford Field, and the winner would get the 1 seed. The loser got the 5th seed. We saw what happened when the Vikings lost. They lost to Detroit, and they got blown out of the building at State Farm in Glendale against the Los Angeles Rams. How big that matchup was. Minnesota is going to want some revenge on the Detroit Lions. I've also got here a Super Bowl rematch in Week 2. The Eagles at the Chiefs, $240 to go to that game. You know how big this matchup is. I think the Eagles are going to beat them again. I just like how powerful they are in the trenches and just when Kansas City doesn't have a lot of mojo going in the run game, that is going to be a lot of struggles, as well as the cap space they've spent. They just don't have enough pieces to be able to fill in all of the parts of the offensive line and the defensive line, like we saw them lose Joe Thuney in the offseason. And then I've got my last one here, the Packers at the Lions on Thanksgiving Week 12. If you're able to shell it out for $235 on Turkey Day to see Jordan Love and the Packers take on Jared Goff Thanksgiving instead of being with loved ones, or maybe you're with loved ones early, go see the game, and then you go home for a dinner, that would be a lot of fun to go see that matchup. Obviously, one of the more marquee games of the year, likely always going to be top 3 or 4 in viewing those games on Thanksgiving. So thank you so much for tuning into. This was a lot of fun to make. Obviously, the $200 was not enough, because that would not have gotten us in the building for any of these NFL big matchups. They're some of the biggest matchups of the NFL season, so it does make sense that $200 is not quite enough. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more content like this going forward, or what type of content you want to see in the future from me with Blitz with Blinder. And so make sure to subscribe, give it a like, and I will see you guys next time. Appreciate it.